Ager's Scepter is an exotic nobody is using, when the build we're going over today is one of the most broken ones in all of Destiny. This weapon rips through adds when firing it regularly, but if you utilize the catalyst, this converts your super into an 80% damage boost for the weapon, which literally drains the health bar off of champions and allows you to apply slow and freeze just by shooting enemies, when the normal version requires you to get kills to apply these same effects. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's gmeiners here, and in this video we are going to be combining one of the best exotics in the entire game with an exotic armor piece that synergizes with it perfectly, along with a subclass that empowers the weapon and makes freezing enemies even easier. I personally used this build back in Season of the Splicer to get my first few Master VOD clears while playing sometimes over 20 power under the requirement, so it's safe to say that this build will work in endgame content, and honestly it feels so strong that just taking it into normal content makes the build feel boring because everything dies before you can even get everything to work. You are also going to need the exotic chest piece Mantle of Battle Harmony with this build. This is going to be giving us a ton of super energy as we get kills, and then when our super is eventually charged up, we will also instead be getting a damage boost at all times. So whether or not you use your super for the bonus damage or not, you will always be hitting like a truck with this weapon, and we still have stasis turrets with the build with nearly 100% uptime, so these are going to play a huge role in making master raids and even grandmaster nightfalls much easier. If you guys do like these builds and you want to see more like them on the channel, make sure to drop a like and sub down below. Only 15% of you guys that watch these videos are subscribed, so click that button. And with that out of the way, let's get onto the build, starting with our Stasis subclass first. Just sprinting through some of the main abilities, the only option for our super is going to be Shadebinder. After that, we are on Healing Rift. We will have zero need for Empowering Rifts in this build because Mantle of Battle Harmony gives us the same effect. So we are essentially getting both of these in the build. And then for your grenade, choose whatever you think works best, but Cold Snaps and Dusk Fields are going to be the better options for this build. For our first aspect, we are running bleakwatcher. This is going to give us the ability to convert our grenade into a stasis turret. To do this, just simply hold your grenade ability in until it is fully charged and then throw it out, and the turret will automatically fire at enemies, dealing small amounts of damage, but applying slow and freezing effects. This is one of the best aspects in the game and makes crowd control on stasis warlocks probably the best in the entire game. And then for our second aspect, we are running glacial harvest. With this, whenever we freeze an enemy, we are going to be creating stasis shards around them. The amount will scale off of the tier of the ad we freeze, so something like yellow bars will naturally generate more shards than red bars, and then at base, collecting these shards will give us small amounts of melee energy back. These aspects each give us 2 fragment slots for a total of 4. First up, we are running Whisper of Fissures. This increases both the size and the damage of the burst whenever we shatter a stasis crystal or a frozen enemy. Our build is going to heavily revolve around focusing trash adds to trigger chain shatter damage on tankier adds, and we will be using these to flash freeze groups, so this fragment is going to be a solid boost in the build's overall damage. Whisper of Chains is going to provide us with increased damage reduction anytime we are near a stasis crystal or a frozen enemy. This is mainly going to be the frozen enemies for us, but this is a substantial 40% damage reduction. So when combined with 40% from resilience and 25% from our 2 chest piece mods, we're going to be looking at 73% damage reduction in total, which is dummy big. Whisper of Torment is a fragment that you can definitely sub out if you want, but this is going to provide us with grenade energy anytime we take damage. This is going to be 4% energy every time we take damage, and this is going to proc every 1 second, so that is potentially a 25-second grenade cooldown if we constantly take damage. But if we do go critical, this energy jumps up to 16.7% per tick, which is also dummy big. So in endgame content, when you do need turrets the most, they should always be available. But since this build doesn't solely revolve around grenades, this is why the fragment is one that you could sub out if you wanted something else. And then lastly, we do have Whisper of Conduction. This very simply makes stasis shards we create track to our position. Mantle of Battle Harmony is going to pair with weapons that we use that match our subclass type, so in this build, that is going to be stasis weapons, which is why Ager Scepter is a great choice. As we get kills with these weapons, we are going to be gaining 3% of our super back for each kill with a 2-second cooldown. This makes building super on any synergizing subclass extremely fast, and then whenever our super is fully charged, we are now instead getting a 20% weapon buff to these weapons while getting kills instead of the super energy, because we obviously can't get any more super energy. So essentially, as long as we get kills with our super while it's charged, Agers will hit 20% harder. Now looking over at Agers itself, first off, Stasis Final Blows will automatically transfer ammo from this weapon's reserves to the mag, so we are basically getting a bottomless mag here, and then Final Blows with the weapon are going to generate a slowing burst around the enemy we killed. However, this automatically applies 100 slow stacks, which is exactly what you need to freeze an enemy, so even though it does say a slowing burst, it really just freezes everything nearby. Lastly, with the catalyst, we are going to be able to hold R or whatever your reload keybind is, and if you are on MNK and you don't have it set to R, hate to break the news, but you're a sociopath. But doing this will drain your super and give the weapon an 80% damage boost, while also applying slow stacks on hit rather than needing any kills. This will be especially useful for taking down anti-barrier champions as it prevents them from healing. The reason, however, that this synergizes so well with Mantle of Battle Harmony is that you're gaining increased super energy while getting kills. So even though your super is draining as you use the catalyst, you theoretically could have this last an infinite amount of time if there were a huge amount of adds to kill and enough ammo to pick up. But even in this clip, you can see after using this, my super is barely drained and is around the 75% mark when I finish using it. So you are going to be able to quickly build back up your full super and use this again whenever needed. For mods, I am going to kind of sprint through these, so I do highly recommend you read them to make sure you understand them fully. First up is going to be Elemental Shards, which makes our Stasis Shards count as Stasis Elemental Wells. After this, I am running Font of Might, which gives me a 25% weapon damage boost to Stasis weapons. Elemental Charge allows me to become charged with light by grabbing Elemental Wells, and since shards count, this means we get charged from our shards. And then I do have on 2 copies of Firepower. These combine to return 30% of my grenade instantly when I throw it out. The other major things that I do run with this build are going to be 2 mods, which you will want to have on, which are going to be Trace Rifle Ammo Finder and Trace Rifle Scavenger. You're not going to be able to do special finishers for yourself because you need your super for this build to work fully, but you don't need these mods on if someone else does special finishers for you. I also like to pair this build with something like Deafening Whisper, which has lead from gold and autoloading. This helps with ammo economy and allows you to use Ager Scepter like a primary. Other than that, a special with demo like Salvagers is also extremely good, as this will chain with the shatter damage and gives tons of nade energy back, or just using whatever is needed to deal with champions. This build works really well in endgame content as long as you aren't doing it solo, because it's hard to deal with champions this season because we don't have trace rifle mods. Other seasons it will definitely be easier, but this really shines in master raids when you are under power and dealing with huge ad density. Let me know your thoughts on the build in the comments below, and I do also stream over on Twitch if you guys want to watch some lowmans and speedruns live, or just come hang out. We do also have a community Discord where I post all of my builds, so make sure to check that out and say what's up over there as well. Anyways, that's all for this video, guys. As always, have a good one. Peace.